Hey everybody, this week's talking about orcs. We're just going to quickly go over a few questions and comments I've had on the previous videos. So we'll start with this first one here from Cannoli Crusader TV. Are Stompas worth it? No. Just too many points, too many last cannons, 5-up invul save doesn't really save them, and there's just not enough damage output to justify their points. So no, Stompas are not worth it at this point. I was really hoping for some adjustments in Chapter Approved, but unfortunately that did not happen. So next comments are from Piotr, who's had a couple comments here. First one is, I'm kind of sad we cannot conga line for the KFF save like Necrons or Tyranids. It's still rather cheap. I agree with that comment pretty much. It's really sad we cannot conga line. And he also says the shock attack gun, talking about the Big Mac, is not worth it. Tested it and typically gives 1 hit per turn, which sounds just about right. You know, you're averaging 3.5 on the D6, 1/3 of those, so yeah, 1 hit per turn. Not worth it, probably even with the points drop. From Kerbing, sorry if I missed it or just didn't understand it, is the idea that these cover the whole army? Choose one and apply to all, or are you allowed to pick one per unit and paint accordingly? Am I even making sense? So he's talking about clan traits in the future. You will be able to mix clan traits just like you can mix Space Marine chapters in the same army. You can't mix them in the same detachment. You can mix them in the same army. The important thing for the painting, though, you have to realize is that there has to be a visual way for your opponent to know which models have which trait. So if you're going to mix Evil Suns and, say, Bad Moons, all your Evil Suns guys have to be one paint scheme. All the Bad Moons have to be another paint scheme to make it clear to your opponent which models have which traits. So other than that, you know, my army is very much mixed. Even though I'm primarily Blood Axe, I have a lot of Evil Suns units, a lot of Bad Moons units, some Goth units, all mixed in there because, you know, that's what a way a WoW would actually be, is a good mix of units. So, but I'll probably be using only one trait, and if I don't, I will use the Evil Sun models as Evil Sun traits and so on and so forth. So just keep that in mind for when the Codex does eventually come out. Okay, here's one very important question talking about the force field. How do you determine entirely versus wholly within 9? And he says his meta is arguing, but where would we get the, how do we determine that? Where does that come from? And that is from the rulebook fact, the main fact. The question is, can you clarify the difference between wholly within and within for rules purposes? So the answer is, if a rule says it affects units and models that are wholly within, then it only applies if the entire unit and model is within. If it just says within, however, then it applies so long as any part of the unit or / model is within. It doesn't say entirely, but then it moves on to cover. For example, units gain the benefit of cover if every model in the unit is either on or within terrain, so long as all the models in that unit are either on or partially within terrain, they gain the benefit of cover. The KFF has the same wording as cover, so long as all the models in the unit are at least partially within that 9-inch bubble. So that's why you only need, like, for a big model like a Battle Wagon or a Gorkanaut, you only need a tiny part of the model within 9 inches to get the benefit of the force field. It's right there in the clarified in the rulebook facts. If anyone has any questions about the within 9 inches for big single unit models, single model units like that. And going on to the tank busters, I hope we drop the points on tank hammers significantly, not only because it basically never seems to worth it compared to rockets, but also we can use them as cheaper models to assign wounds to. Can't disagree. Definitely tank hammer has to get cheaper. But then counter to that, we have the comment, tank hammers are suicide hammers. 3 squads of minimum tank busters with 5 bomb squigs, 6 tank hammers, and a battle wagon. There are damage total of 5d6 plus 63 mortal and 9 rocket pistols that are probably used once. It's a bit sad to see these expensive models' objective is to live as short as possible. So they deal 20 plus damage to a walker after all those saves, at least they performed. So using the tank hammers, I really dissed tank hammers in the tank buster video, I think with good cause. I think the tank hammers are way overpriced for what you get out of them. But he's using them here as essentially, he or she or other are using them as suicide units. So you just run out, you bang on something with all your tank hammers and do as many mortal wounds as you possibly can. and hope for the best. And it's sad to see expensive models whose only objective it is to die as quickly as possible, is what he's saying there. So I have to agree with that. I mean, you can deal a lot of damage, so you could hypothetically kill something like some of the big fancy Primaris dreadnoughts in one go with all those mortal wounds, but it's hard to say if that will actually ever work out. And you could also roll all ones for your D3s, which really doesn't really help very much. So I do like D3 mortal wounds if it's repeatable, like the relic, the kill choppa. That's awesome. Get a 6 up on the wound, D3 mortal wounds, so you potentially get 2 of them in addition to your other damage. So it's worth it. That's awesome. It's repeatable. One time, if the tank hammers weren't one-shot wonders, they would probably be worth the points, but don't take tank hammers. Is basically what it boils down to, at least not yet. So here we have Commandos, talking about Commandos and the jump and mob up. So Will the Thrill 0782, a very effective strategy I found is 2 units of Commandos, 1 unit of 15, 1 unit of 10, which is what I agree with. Power Claws and Burners 2 in each. Burners are the free upgrades, of course. Take Snick Rot. Whenever turn they choose to bring them in, on the same turn they jump the knob with War Banner within 6 inches of the Commandos. That's an interesting use. Use Mob Up on the Commandos to make the charge. If Snick Rot and the Knob Banner don't make the charge, no biggie. Just daisy chain back for the buffs. At this point, you now have a unit Commandos times 25, gaining 2 Power Claws and 4 Burners. And they're hitting on 2s, rerolling 1s. The best points you'll ever spend. Effective for removing your enemy off a key objective late in the game. Great for sneaking in to kill exposed characters out of nowhere. Awesome for getting in and disrupting artillery line or tank blob. That is very effective. I never thought about just jumping the banner knob by himself. You can do that. It's not that expensive. He's only like 74 points or something like that. If you do lose him, it's not going to be a big deal. But Snick Rot's a little more expensive. A little bit, not very much. So again, you can just leave him out flapping in the wind if you want to. But with the 25 Commandos, I like the 2 Power Claws and the 4 Burners in 1 unit. And if you can, especially if you can somehow get them in cover on the assault too, so now they get the benefit of the extra cover bonus if they get shot on the next turn, even better. But yeah, it is a good strategy. It's not a lot of points investment either, for sure. Not a lot of points. But again, I'd never thought of jumping the War Banner knob to boost the Commando, but I can definitely see that being worth the investment. So, excellent comment, and I agree entirely. So that is going to be, however, that is my last comment for this video. If you have any more questions, please feel free to make any questions or comment on any of the Talking About Orks videos you like, and we'll go over them in the future. Thanks for watching. Thank you for watching this episode of Talking About Orks. Please subscribe and hit the bell button for notifications for new Talking About Orks videos every Wednesday, new battle reports every Friday, and hobby videos whenever I can. Thanks for watching.